Hi, I'm Sharon Ross. Today we're at the Brick and we're going to interview Marletta Sophie Paul about her pieces in the Fresh Outlook 2022 exhibition. Marletta, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Hi, as you know, I'm Marletta Sophie Paul. These are the pieces that they selected to put in this show, which is really, thank you for the opportunity.
Marletta, you have 3 images in the exhibition, and to an untrained eye, they all look like variations of the same image done in printmaking. So tell us about the process and the image.
I like that idea. They are variations. This is what we call suicide block or reduction. Suicide block I like better because it's like reduction block. And what you do is I start with my image and I first relief cut. I cut away in successive layers from lighter to darker color. So the print completed, this one would have had 5 different layers. What you see here are 3 of the 5 layers with the different colors. But thank you to COVID and the college shutting down, you have to have a good registration to put your plate down and put your paper down in the same place. Otherwise you get sort of skewed. Well, my registration got lost in the mishmash of the college shutting down, and then I came back to this about 1.5 years later. And so I kept trying to get it right, and it was all skewed. And this is a theme in my art. Things don't work out. And so when they don't work out, I try to figure, how can I rework this? How can I make lemonade out of lemons? And this is an example. This is actually the last layer that would have been in this reduction print. This I was just playing around with black and silver. I like playing around, and that was about the 3rd layer. And the lesson to me here is I have a view in my mind. And if I hold to that rigidly, I'm in deep trouble because art has its way and I have to move with it. So what you see is, I thought the layers were really neat. The completed piece would have been really neat.
Tell us about the image you selected.
This, I do a lot of walking around Carson City and I love trees. And this is just an image I had taken, and I just love the way it moved, and it took me quite a while to figure a title. So the title is called Lovely Sway, and there's just something, I can't quite explain it, but there's something that I really gravitate towards in the silhouette of trees. So that's where that came from.
Marletta, did you take this image from a photograph and then use it?
Yes. When I'm out walking, again, I love to walk, and people must think I'm a little wacky. I'm walking along, taking pictures of this tree and or that, from this angle or that angle. So yes, this is from a photograph. It sort of morphs from there though. When I try to make things really realistic, I get kind of bound up. So this took this sway to it, the movement in it sort of came as I was drawing from the photograph. And what's interesting though is way back when I was in high school in the early 70s, I used to walk, I've always walked a lot, and I would see the silhouette of trees with the moon coming through, and at one time I remember running back to the art class and trying to draw it, and I couldn't. I have no ability at that time, and for most of my life, to draw 2-dimensional things. I can build things. I'm a silversmith, metalsmith by trade. That's how I've earned my income, but I've never been able to draw. I've done renderings. So about 4 years ago, I was in a kind of funky time and I wanted to do something different. And I thought, what would I do if I could do anything? I want to take an art class. I've never taken an art class. So that's how I got involved with WNC and Rachel Steff, who taught drawing 1 and drawing 2, and from there I got into printmaking, and I love it. I sort of do my regular metalsmithing work to support my printmaking habit, which I love.
Were these pieces in response to a specific class assignment?
Yes, in my printmaking, we have learned several different techniques, this being one of them further along the line. Initially, we did relief, which is where you draw your design on linoleum in this case, and then cut away everything except what you want to print. The further refinement of this is something called reduction, where you cut the block 3 or 4 times. You cut it the first time you're cutting out and leaving what your lightest color will be. Second time, et cetera, until like a final layer. This was my final layer, the darkest, the black that was in the print. And it's very, again, this is a little further along the line of learning printmaking. You have to have it all lined up, which I didn't, so that's why I have the layers. If you want to see what reduction block looks like, where all the layers come together, we've got a great piece right around the corner from one of my classmates.
Marietta, thank you so much for coming in and describing your work. We really appreciate it. It's great to talk with you.
Thanks for having me, and thanks for giving me an opportunity to show my learning curve in printmaking. Thank you.
So I'd like to introduce Winnie Quartermeyer. She's here with her 2 pieces she has in the exhibition, and Dancing Girl and Good Dog. And Winnie, tell us about your work. Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Tell us about your experience with painting and your motivation for these pieces.
Well, I did these in my first watercolor class up at Western Nevada College. And I'd never taken any kind of drawing or painting class before, so this was my first time. And this was my final project. So I had no idea what I liked, what I wanted to paint. And everything I painted, I was just kind of like, well, it's okay, but it doesn't really speak to me. And I was just trying to find what I liked in the way of painting at all. And this was my final project. So at the very end of the semester, I finally figured out that what I like is abstract art. And I kind of had that idea. I had gone to the Seattle Art Gallery the year before I was in this class. And there was a big Rothko. And it was huge. I had no idea. It was like 8 feet tall. And I was just so impressed with it. And my daughter said, I think you like abstract art. And I said, I think I do. So I was trying to paint abstract, but I just couldn't do it. Everything I did was just it looked like a child's drawing instead of abstract art. And so for my final project, I actually painted this one like this. And I was thinking of the origin of the universe and everything coming out from the Big Bang. And then when I was done, I put it in this orientation, and I really liked it. And to me, it just immediately said, oh, that's a dancing girl with legs and a head and arms and with a lot of movement. And so this was the first piece, my final project, that really made me happy in the class. So really thrilled with that.
Tell us about the other watercolor, please.
So I did this one after the end of the class because when I realized this was a dancing girl in my brain, I thought she needed a dog, a companion. So I knew I couldn't paint a dog because it would just be a bad, childish dog. So what I did is I turned it in this direction and I painted things that could be eyes up here, and I painted things that could be legs down here, and I think it looks like a dog, but abstract. So that's what I've determined, that if I'm gonna do abstract art, I probably am gonna do them all sideways.
That's wonderful, and you could have no better guide than Mark Rothko, so congratulations.
I don't think there's really a lot of Mark Rothko in there, but yes, my inspiration for all abstract art.
Tell us about the faculty you worked with at WNC.
So, like I said, this was my first watercolor class, my first painting class at all. And my instructor was Colleen Reynolds, and she's an awesome watercolorist herself. She's had shows around Carson City, and she's actually becoming, I think, pretty famous. But you can be a good watercolorist yourself and not be a good teacher. And she is an awesome teacher. So it's at a college level. The class is at a college level. You have to learn a lot of the theory behind watercolor, how to mix the colors so that you don't create just all mud colors. You've probably seen some watercolor paintings that all the colors look like mud. We didn't do that because she made sure she taught us how to mix colors and not create mud. Very important in watercolor. And she's just an awesome teacher, and she's offering a class in the fall. I'm thinking about taking another class from her, so people should look into that. And then also the head of the art department is Rachel Stiff, and she is incredible. Students absolutely love her, and she also teaches painting. She teaches some drawing classes. So that's another instructor to definitely look into.
Hi, I'm Rachel Stiff, Fine Art Faculty at Western Nevada College, and I'm so excited to share with you Fresh Outlook 2022. At this show, you'll see a wide variety of courses that students have taken. These students are either non-degree seeking, they just want to take an art class, or they're degree seeking, and these courses help them earn their degree. So what you'll see here in the show is students taking anything from a foundations class like Art 100 all the way to something a little bit more specific like printmaking. And what I want to share with you here is a painting exercise that Painting One students have done. Have you ever tried to paint glass, shells, or bone? Well, these students have done a really good job with what's called a limited palette. So that just means a restricted color palette of just 2 colors. So using only an ultramarine blue and a burnt sienna, the students have been able to find value contrast and also really get those details on the glass and the bottles and the texture of the antlers. So I think they've done a good job here. I hope you've enjoyed the show, and I hope that you consider possibly taking a class at Western Nevada College. Thank you.
Thank you so much to Winnie and Marletta for sharing their work with CCAI. The exhibition is Fresh Outlook 2022 is in the Community Development Building that we call the Brick here in Carson City. And we really appreciate the collaboration with the city for use of the building, and to the college for sharing their students' art, and to Rachel Stiff, the professor at WNC, and to all of our funders who are listed on the following slide. Come see art in Carson City. CCAI has 4 galleries, each with plenty of free parking, so do visit. Thank you very much. Enjoy.